Hey, what's going on? I'm Seb Steel. I'm a 19-year-old above knee amputee as of I think 6 weeks ago now.
Yeah, very interesting story. And
Wait, wait, wait. You lost your leg 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, lost my leg 6 weeks ago.
You are a
Yeah,
full freshie to the disability
yeah,
world.
pretty much. I've been in a wheelchair for 8 months though now.
because you were trying to save your leg after an
Ah,
accident, which we'll get into. But obviously,
Yeah,
there's a
sorry.
great angle here for Seb because we usually chat to people who have, and I don't want to say established, but no one as new to the disability community as yourself. So this is going to be a really interesting chat and obviously relatable for everybody who isn't born with disability.
Can I just say something funny? You'll love this, Seb. I just,
yep.
because I haven't slept much recently, been a bit on, I just took that as you were just demoing a wheelchair for 8 months and then only 6 weeks ago you lost your leg. And I was like, what are the chances of that happening? And then I was
It was
like,
a
oh, hang
planned
on.
one.
You damaged your leg. And at first I was like, wow, that's such a coincidence.
What a coincidence!
By the
Checking out
way,
the Melrose.
Why were you in a wheelchair for 6 months just trying it? So I know it's fresh, but that's pretty funny.
Um,
Uh,
Now,
No, definitely.
before we get into the accident that led you towards your your current amputation, let's just talk a little bit about you. You are 19 years old. You live in Adelaide, South Australia. Were you an active young man?
Yeah, I was. I actually reckon. I think we talked about it before, Angus. I reckon we played a game of footy together when
Oh,
I was about 15. I reckon.
hang on a
God, that would have
second.
been rough for you
They
because Angus was
say
shit.
don't meet your idols, and here you are. So
Yep.
I'll tell the backstory because Seb's probably too modest. But Seb went to Scotch College in Adelaide.
Oh, so he was 13 playing seniors and you were playing in the twos.
No. As Seb knows,
He's 19, you're 37.
well, I'm currently 34. At the time, I was, I think, 30. And yes, a young Seb got to witness just greatness on the football field just down from his school. And yeah, I believe we did have maybe a injury-ridden couple of weeks, or maybe a couple of boys went away. But yeah, you did get the call up, Seb, and we did play a game of
Yep.
AFL together. So what a beautiful coincidence. And I only found that out. Seb was suggested, nominated through our email. But then from following you on our ListenABLE_podcast Instagram, I DM'd you and I was like, why are you wearing a Scotch jersey? And you're like, mate, I played a game of footy with you. And I was like, ha ha ha, huge.
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
Well,
How was he at footy? You can say crap if he was.
honestly, I cannot remember. I
Well,
don't
that
even
makes
remember
me
playing
seem,
that game.
that makes me seem not
But
memorable.
Perfect
Okay.
answer.
no,
It's because it was no
Thanks,
good.
Seb.
he was very unlucky to not play AFL.
Thank you.
Mate,
Or the grand final
he got
to
dropped.
get dropped.
He
Yeah.
got dropped to the twos in the day before the grand final.
Yeah, because it would have been unfair if he was playing one,
Oh,
especially
Seb,
in
you're
game.
That's
Come
what we
on.
need, Seb. Thank you very
He's
much.
loving you in here, Sebby. I like that.
But Seb, where we currently find you, you are where?
I am sitting at my mum's computer in Adelaide right now.
But you're on a bit of bed rest.
Yeah, well, they're actually still trying to decide what I've done in my leg, but I don't know if you're familiar with amputations, but they kind of go above knee anyway. They use the hamstring and the quad, and they kind of connect it around like that to make it flat. And they reckon that I've ripped a little bit, just kind of tore a little bit, so it's gone like kind of like that.
Okay,
Okay.
open up a bit. Now, one of my
Yeah.
questions that we always roll out here because we're experienced journalisms,
Journalisms.
Very experienced.
is I always get people to flash back to when they had their accident or when they had their amputation or whatever, like you right now, and go, "What did you know about disability?" But it's so. And firstly, thanks for coming on, mate, because I know this is raw for you. It just happened, and anything you don't want to talk about, you don't have to, right? But
I'm fully open.
what do you know about disability? Like you literally have just joined our world, and you are a freshie. You know, not much experience in it. Like, what do you know about disability? What do you know about the future? What do you know about anything really about it?
Oh well, to be honest with you, it was very very scary coming, like becoming disabled. I don't know if I can say that. I
You
guess I
can say
can
that
because
because
I am
that's what's
disabled
happened.
now.
You're right, mate. You
Yep.
can say what you want now. You're in the crew.
But yeah, I pretty much, it was a weird one because I actually had to decide, whether to keep my leg that didn't work or, get it amputated and hope that I had a, better quality of life from that. And I strongly believe that I did make the right decision, and I'm just going through the motions until I can get a prosthetic leg, pretty much.
Now, that in itself is a huge decision to keep your leg or, as you said, potentially increase your quality of life. Because I have a friend, I'm not going to name him because I've never spoken about him or got his permission, but a friend of mine has use of one arm. So he had an accident at work and in a sporting accident, and he now doesn't have the use of one of his arms. He kind of puts it into his pocket in a jacket,
Yeah.
and so he doesn't use it. Now, the reason he had the option of amputating his arm because they said this, there's no connection, it's not going to work. But part of the reason why he has kept his arm as it is, even though it has wasted away, is because he has some sort of hope for stem cell.
Ah.
So he's kind of keeping an idea that technology might catch up to him and he might one day have use. Did that sort of go through your mind at all that maybe, who look at the iPhone 5 years ago versus now, what the hell's going to happen in the medical world?
Yeah, well, I kind of went the other way and thought, if I get it amputated, look at the technology and prosthetics now, and compared to what it was 10 years ago, like now they've got micropressive knees. Like before that, you were having to flick your knee yourself, or not even, you just have a straight leg. So, I'm just kind of going with it, hoping that, technology does its thing, and hopefully one day I'll be able to wiggle my toes again or something like that.
No, I'm with
Not
you.
my toes.
Yeah, not your toes, the robot toes. It is definitely, I'm with you. Good on both schools of thought, to be honest. Everyone's different, but I'm with Seb. The independence you open up by getting a accessibility feature that would be able to help you, like a prosthetic or wheelchair or whatever it is. It's like people that can walk a little bit refuse to go on a wheelchair, yet they walk like penguins 10 steps. I'm like, or go on a wheelchair and go 10Ks. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But like but some people are like, no, and it's like fair enough. So everybody is different, and I don't mind that school of thought. I actually found out there's a really big international DJ guy called Black Coffee. He played Coachella, one of my favorite DJs. He's got one
Oh,
arm.
I've heard of him.
He's got one arm, man.
Oh.
One arm doesn't work like your mate, but he kept it in his pocket. And I was like, oh, he's always got his hand in his pocket. So because one arm works.
There you go.
And I was like, I'd love him to talk about that more.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. But he chooses not to. Fair enough. You know what I mean? So you can't make people do it.
So you're in Adelaide. You're 19 years old. Up until that point, you got to play with your sporting hero, me, playing AFL, presumably quite active. You're wearing an NBA jersey at the moment. Sport was probably a huge part of your life.
We never played tennis before, did we, Sam?
Yeah, a few. We had a hit around, here and there.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay. What's the outlook for you? So, I mean, how do you go from playing everything to nothing? I mean, obviously, that in a point of showing a juxtaposition. Of course, there are going to be sports that you do or will play in the future, but how do you feel when, your life as you know it, especially in Adelaide, which is such a sport-driven town and AFL crazy, and it just stops for you? How did that go?
Yeah, that was another thing that helped me make the decision of kind of getting my leg amputated. I remember sitting in my hospital bed feeling flat as anything and just thinking, yeah, my life's over. That's it. I'm done. I've got nothing else to do. And then I remember jumping on Instagram and kind of, looking through like amputees and stuff like that. And I could see that these guys with no legs even were, putting on prosthetics and running 100 meters quicker than I probably could with 2 legs. So I was kind of like, why bother just living a shit life when I'm only 19, when I can, and, keeping the leg, or I can, get it amputated and give it a fair crack with one leg.
Fair enough.
Now, we're talking a lot about this leg. Obviously, you had 2 and then it became 1. How did that come about?
Yeah. So, I was still 19. I was working at my dad owns a trucking company, and I was working there as a, warehouse operator, forklift guy. And I got there really early in the morning on time. I reckon I'd worked 18 hours a day before. I was completely wrecked. So I rolled up, and my mate was on top of a ramp, ramp like that.
It's quite a large
And he
incline.
said,
Yeah, steep ramp.
yeah. He said, jump on the back of it, because I'll take you to your forklift. I said, yeah, right. Hopped on the back, and I was dangling my legs off the edge of the forklift, and my leg kind of got stuck between the floor and the wheel of the forklift, and this just 5-ton forklift just sucked me underneath it all the way up to about my hip. And yeah, I remember, I was also got sucked into the floor because the floor was all like I don't know how to really describe it. It's got like holes in it, designed to like rip food off forklifts wheels and stuff, so you don't cross
Yeah,
contaminate.
like a bit of tread almost. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, tread. That's
Tread.
the one,
Yeah.
and like kind of sucked me into the floor a bit as well. So I got some nice scars on my bum and my upper thigh. But yeah, I just remember lying there and then telling the guy to go forward, like just floor it. And as he kind of freaked out and put his foot in the accelerator, it degloved my lower from about just above my knee to my ankle. So
Just
I don't know
gone.
if you really know what degloving
Yeah,
is.
skin gone.
Yeah, pretty much. Calf gone, everything, just destroyed, really.
Like smooshed
Not
or
nice
like
to look at.
skin like taken off? Even though,
I'm pretty sure it was skin taken off. They said degloving,
Yeah,
which
that means basically,
know,
the skin, as much as it is one of the most incredible organs on our body and the biggest,
tension, yeah.
it's also compared to the muscle is the weakest. So yeah, any sort of tension you can, I had a guy whose finger got caught while he was riding a horse, and he had the rein around his finger, and the horse took off, and he stayed behind, and he just looked down at his
yeah,
finger, and it was degloved.
Did you pass out or do you
yeah, no.
remember the pain or?
No, I didn't. I don't think there was. I don't remember having any pain because all of the nerves just got
Just go and catch
completely destroyed.
Wow.
But then I remember just feeling really uncomfortable, and then my dad, who had to kind of lift the forklift off the bottom of my like leg and ankle with the other guy, he was like holding me down. He was like, "Don't look at it. You don't want to see it." And I remember I kind of got up and looked at it a bit, and I just saw bone, and I started freaking out. I was like, "Dad, you just knocked me out. Just punch me in the head. I don't want to see it anymore." Like, just completely beside myself. And then I remember just waking up in hospital, and that was it.
Now, I'm going to presume your dad didn't knock you out.
No, not quite.
Okay. Right.
He held you down though.
There's so much to unpack about this around the trauma that obviously you most importantly went through yourself, and that's going to be the focus of this episode. But there are two other people in that moment who went through some pretty horrific events. Have you had a conversation with the guy who was riding the forklift? What kind of conversation was it? Were there apologies thrown both ways? How does that conversation go about?
Yeah, well, I remember he was actually talking to me when the injury was happening. He was like just apologizing, and I was still with it a bit, and I was like, "Just stop. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Like, I was the one that decided to get on the forklift. We're both like equally to blame. It's not just you." And then obviously in hospital, I think I messaged him just saying, "Look, it's all fine. I'm alive. I'm just in hospital, chilling out." And he replied back. I think he was pretty grateful to hear, that I was still in not high spirits, but I was still, kicking and wanting to talk to people and stuff. But I reckon I haven't really spoken or kept that much in contact with him.
Yeah.
And on my dad's side, I reckon that it kind of it really got to him. I think he's a tough man, Big Ian, but it's pretty hard lifting a forklift off your son.
Again, as far as you want to go into it, brother, because it's pretty fresh. Does he talk to you about it with him, or does he just kind of pretend like it didn't happen? What point are you at about the accident?
No, he's always been, he's always been there. He was sleeping in hospital when you weren't meant to, and he was always pushing. Like if I was in pain, he was going out and getting nurses and stuff. But if I wanted to talk about it, he'd fill in details because I got a bit of PTSD
Mhm.
around it. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be sweating and I would have had dreams about it. And it kind of helped me in a way get over it by him filling in the details that I'd forgotten or I wasn't awake for. So yeah, he played a pretty big role in kind of keeping me sane mentally, I guess, and getting some sleep in, which definitely helped me.
Strong man, made out of steel.
Last name
There you go.
Steel for everyone.
Seb Steel. Thank you, Ian Steel.
Speaking of the big man, Ian, weird one for you then. Do you think your relationship with your dad is better since the accident? Because you've opened up a line of communication that was probably more emotional than maybe you would have gone beforehand, or maybe you guys were already at that stage.
Or not, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we've always been very, very close, but I remember, you know, I was foreseen as, you know, a pretty tough guy before the accident as well. And I remember once the accident happened, all I wanted was my mum and dad. Like, you can be as tough as you want, but when something like that happens, all you want is just your parents there to kind of put a safety net around you. So, like, yeah, I had an pretty good relationship with him before, but you know, now it's very, very strong. If I need anything or if I want to talk to him about anything, he'll always be there for me.
It's because he's
And
scared of
same with my
being
mum.
he's scared of being sued, mate. That's why.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Exactly.
So,
Taking the
hold that
millions.
over him forever, mate.
Actually, this is an intervention. We're going to represent you, and we're going to take him to school.
Brilliant.
All right, we're
bring
all
in
loaded.
Natalie Wade from
Stand up
EQ
for
Lawyers, our
disabled
good
people.
friend, is here.
Yeah, go on, Seb. Get over here, mate. You're with us now, all right? We're all cashed up. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
What about the other people in your life? Or is there something behind you, like a cat or a dog or a person that keeps looking? Or am I
Hey,
making that
Millie. No, you're not. Millie, come here.
Oh, this is
up? Oh, it is? Okay.
Wow, this is the
Oh,
hot
all right,
girlfriend. Here
hang
we
on.
go.
I was about
Super
to...
hot girlfriend.
Yes.
Can we put it, give everyone your ears. Is that all right? I want to be able to hear.
Yeah.
I was about to say, how did the rest of the people... Hello, I'm Dylan.
Hi,
This is
Millie.
Angus.
Angus.
Hey, Millie.
Hi.
I was about to say, I know you had a partner. How did the rest of the people in your life react? But then I could see Millie really creepily looking behind the lamp the whole time. I could just see her head, and I was going, I think there's someone there. So hello, thanks for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it, Millie. We'll ask you first. Or we'll ask you, and then we'll go back to the Seb. How did you react when this accident happened? How was it in your world?
I was at school when it happened, and I was kind of like, why isn't Seb responding to me? Like, what could he possibly be doing? And then his siblings came in and got me, and then they said there was an accident at work, and it could have been anything. Like, he could have just stubbed his toe, and I just cried because I cry at everything. So I kind of broke down and had to. I think we all left. I went with the family, and we all just hung out for the day while we waited for the news. And yeah, it was very, very scary. Definitely a big change. But yes, I think it's brought everyone a lot closer to Seb, which is good to see because Seb needs it, and he's been so strong and probably been there for everyone else since they need it as well. So he's probably
Yeah, because it is true. So do you know, a lot of people would think after an accident like this, everyone needs to be there for Seb, but the other side of it is you probably wanted Seb as much as he needed you as well in that moment as well, because, you know, your emotions are high as you were saying. So, yeah, can you talk us through that conversation at the start?
Yeah, Seb definitely has been there for me, and so, his whole family has. They've kind of taken me under their wing. I have dinner here every night. Basically, live here now.
Rent
I'm lucky
free.
for them.
Rent free
Yep.
as well.
Lovely.
Exactly.
Thank
Lovely.
you very much.
Dad's always scared, mate. You've always got it over him. You can get whatever you want.
He's going to listen to this and be like, no.
Yeah.
We'll be going to Coachella next year.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll be coming with. Hey, we'll be all flying private, baby.
Yeah, Coachella.
On
movie
Ian's
tickets.
tab.
Big Ian. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice one. So you are living together, which is, you know, awesome. That works out well.
But how did you go? Obviously, it's a hard one for people with accident because, Seb, you're obviously, you know, lying there in hospital with a big trauma. How did you, like, manifest in your mind how you wanted to portray what was going on to, like, your partner and your family? Because that can be scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good question. I remember.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't really know because I didn't really know what to tell anyone or everyone because there was kind of very uncertain times about what was actually going to happen. Like I knew that my leg was, you know, it was pretty bad, but I didn't know that early on that amputation was going to be the only way to kind of give me a better quality of life. So I remember when I found out, I posted on Instagram saying pretty much what had happened, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't really think I'm going to be able to respond to everyone's messages, and, all that stuff. But I I don't know how I think you kind of came in and then we just sat there and didn't really speak about it, to be honest with you.
No, because I would just cry.
Yeah.
You guys are very cute, by the way. I'm enjoying this interaction.
So you two.
Oh, here we
Oh,
are.
thank you. Appreciate that. We've been in a
Alright.
relationship for 3 years.
Exactly. And what about
Very
now?
nice.
What about now, Millie? Is there times where you still get a bit sad about it, or have you come to terms with it now and it's just pretty much become the norm?
It was definitely a lot more normal now, but at the start it was hard to get used to. But I just had to stay strong for Seb, and obviously he was already strong for himself and for me more. But yeah, it's definitely more normal now. So we have adjusted to the way that we can do things, and we still go out and have fun every day, and it's still normal,
As my
but
girl,
like just a bit different.
yeah, as my girlfriend says to me, which is now the same for you, more leg room in bed too, because I've only got small legs. There's always positives.
Exactly.
Always
Positives.
positives.
There you
See?
All right,
You
look,
can
And
have
a
as much
free
as you want.
seat everywhere we go.
All right, back to Seb. Good on you, Millie.
Thanks,
Thanks
Millie.
for popping in, you legend.
appreciate it. What a legend.
What a legend.
Um,
Well, she's a bit of a keeper. Don't stuff that up, Seb.
Absolutely.
like I
We
said,
like her.
Seb's Instagram, Seb_Steel.
What's your bio on your Instagram?
That's a good question.
Oh, we've
Oh,
got
I reckon I know what it is now.
Yeah,
eh?
we
We
can't
do as
say it
well.
'cause it
It's a
sounds a bit-
leading question. We won't know what it is.
it's
It
a
just
bit
sounds
creepy
weird
if
for
we
me.
say
Hi.
it.
Hi, I have one leg and a really, 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 really hot girlfriend.
I would change that to talented, lovely, and hot, just to make sure you cover all the books. But yes, congratulations.
There you go.
It was there. So you're out of hospital now, but obviously, from following you the last few weeks on Instagram, I see that you in rehab, you're doing physio, etc. Can you tell us about what it was like? I guess coming out as Seb Steel with one leg, if that makes sense, because you are sort of introducing not only yourself to a new world, especially with some accessibility differences, but can you talk about your first time interacting? Did you want no one to make a fuss of it, or were you happy to answer questions? Because people can go either way.
Yeah. I remember I hated people staring at me, and it made me feel so insecure, and maybe because I didn't like what my leg looked like before my amputation. Like, I hated it, and it made me feel really, really bad when other people would just stare at it and be like, "Oh, what's going on there?" So, but I would absolutely love it when people came up to me and said, actually, like, what did happen, instead of just kind of, standing back and looking at it and making weird faces.
Mm.
So I did, I preferred people to, just come up to me and have a conversation with me, 'cause I'm a normal person, not just weird because I have one leg, I guess. But yeah,
And are you getting around on crutches? Is that how you're operating at the moment?
I'm in my
Oh, you got a chair.
Yeah, has to
Yeah.
initially with the blood and stuff for sure.
There it is.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've got crutches, but
Can you explain that for a second?
Oh, well,
expert.
he's done because the scarring and as you spoke about the pain, it would be so hard to get around on crutches at the moment
Oh,
because you just got it amputated. So
Yeah.
what we call this, I'm not an expert in amputee, but the stump takes a long time to heal. You know what I mean? To make sure it's all right.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes, it's yeah. I can get around on crutches and I can hop, but it's just easier to get around in a wheelchair. I'm so used to it now, and yeah, obviously the stump, that's big dangers if I fall over and I hurt it, then I'm pretty
Yeah.
well
Look
in
at
big
me.
trouble.
With my amputation knowledge, there, I was pretty
Yeah,
impressed
the
with
expert.
that. That
There
was
you
pretty
go.
good by me.
Not just a paraplegic.
No, not just the para.
You got it.
I'm all covered, baby. No, definitely don't. Anyone don't write to us. I'm not an expert.
Seb, this podcast was started about our friendship and my life being changed by having somebody with a disability in it, and my eyes being open to the world of inaccessibility mostly. What has been your experience the past, probably 8 months, because you've had a chair? Did you realize the Adelaide cobble streets of not Unley, but what's that suburb? What's that one road where Melt Pizza's
King
on?
William Street.
King
Yeah,
William
King
Street.
William.
Oh, Adelaide chat. Ooh.
Little Adelaide chat. I was there on the
There you
weekend.
go.
But King William Street, which looks gorgeous aesthetically, but it's just old school cobbled road.
Yeah.
What have you discovered over the past 8 months of life in a chair at the moment with inaccessibility? Not necessarily around Adelaide, but I guess so.
Yeah. I really, really hate stairs.
Yeah, stairs
Stairs
and
suck.
cobblestones. Whoever invented those two things, especially
Yeah.
cobblestones, doesn't even look cool.
Why? Like, who wants to walk upstairs? Just make a ramp. It's so much
Do you know
easier.
what was invented by a guy called Stephen Cobble?
You just made
I made that up.
Gonna look that one up.
yeah.
Fact check it.
But it's true. Your life changes. You don't realize how much your life changes, do you? Until it changes.
Oh no, it's like just the most basic of things. Like trying to get into my house with a wheelchair. Like there's like a step like that big, and it's like, oh my god. Before I learned how to kind of get upstairs in a wheelchair, it was just like every little thing was so difficult, and it made me feel more and more outcasted. Like going to I remember I went out to town, like Hindley Street, pretty well
Hindley.
after operation, and we went clubbing and stuff. And I remember I went to the Fat Controller, and these guys, they I've got a friend who's paraplegic.
That was the Fat Controller for anyone listening, because that sounded like something
Fat
else.
Controller.
I will.
Yeah.
And I'll just drop some more Adelaide bombs on you, everyone. That is a underground bar across from the casino, pretty much, in distance, just in the CBD of Adelaide. But it's certainly not the most accessible bar, I would have thought, for choice.
Well, actually, they have a escalator for out the back, which they get the DJ, everything in and out on that, like all the drinks and stuff. And I remember I went up there, and I was like, hey, all of my friends are in this club, and I was like, hey, do you think you could let me in down the back, because it's it's meant to be accessible for wheelchairs as well? And they were just like, oh, no, sorry mate, not tonight.
Eek.
And I was just like, okay, yep, cool. And then I was like, well, like, why not? And they're like, oh, just not tonight, we'll do it next weekend. And went out next weekend, went up to them, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm back again, can you let me down? Nah, sorry mate.
Well, technically they did let you down, just not in the sense that you were hoping
exactly.
for.
So yeah, and then I have a paraplegic friend, Jake, and they did the exact same to him. So it's just kind of like, it makes you feel even worse when people they just don't let you do the same things as able-bodied people.
It's sad to hear. I know part owner of the Fat Controller, so I'll be sending him a text after this, and I'll let him know we're not going to be bleeping out the name. You got to wear that sometimes. So
good on you, Braz.
And we'll have in a future episode. I'll read out a response maybe at the top of the next episode.
I appreciate that a lot.
Well, you shouldn't appreciate it. A text shouldn't have to come from somebody, or someone, as Dylan said, shouldn't have to be called out. But in this case, unfortunately it's a little bit too close for home for me not to do anything. So I'll make sure that changes.
20 drink cards and a free guest list.
I'll make sure you get some free drink cards.
Can I ask a double barrel question? One, you said you had a mate in a wheelchair called Jake.
Jake Billsbury.
Was he pissed there was another guy in a wheelchair in town when you tried to steal his thunder? Don't lie.
Actually, so this is the pretty good story. A year before my accident, me and Jake were both in Bali together, right? And then a year later, we're both in wheelchairs.
Oh, at the same time almost?
Pretty much, yeah. Like it's... He's probably maybe, I don't know, 6 months or something before me, but like still pretty crazy.
Wow.
I don't know what we did in Bali, but we
got some bad juju over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Secondly, obviously, pretty big traumatic experience for you and Jake, and if you are in the same friendship group, did you make some friends, lose some friends? How did your friendship group react to such a big trauma? Because that can be pretty hard, but also pretty telling of the life that you might live with the people around you.
Well, I've been so lucky with all of my friends. They go out to battle for me with all these things, like the Fat Controller Club. They were all like, all right, we're leaving. Then all came and helped me up into another club down the street, and like if like I'm feeling pretty flat, as I do sometimes, being in this situation, they'll come and pick me up, take me out, make sure I'm feeling good. This the other day, a few of my mates started a podcast. They got me on that to talk. That was pretty cool. I like
Better
that
than-
one. They actually said that they were better than you,
I was
and
gonna say-
they were going to have to sponsor you.
Are they? Hang on. Are they better than us now? You've been on both podcasts. Which has been a better chat?
Well, can I plug them?
Yeah,
I
give him
mean,
a plug.
And guess
go
what?
for
We're
it.
going to beep it out because we hate them.
Nah,
Yeah,
give him
fair
a plug.
enough.
Give him
What
a
is it?
plug.
What is
Shout
it?
out
What
to
is it?
shout out to the Triple H podcast. Go follow that
Like
on
the wrestler?
Instagram.
Like the wrestler?
yeah, like the rest.
We love WWE on this
Time
show.
to play the game.
Just for anyone watching and knows the backstory with WWE, we are huge fans.
Angus got cancelled by
Good.
wrestling fans.
Well, no, they got me on that podcast to kind of share my story and raise a bit of awareness for people with without an able body in a wheelchair or whatever your disability is. And I really appreciated the chance to tell my story.
Love
Mate,
that.
we're about to get to our bowl of uncomfortable, where we ask a question that someone might not normally say face to face. Before we do that, I can't believe you're only 8 months post accident and you're 19. Very mature, well spoken young man, my friend. Good job.
No,
I'm serious.
thank you. I appreciate
It's
it.
very impressive. We were like, man, this could go many a way where you don't really want to delve into it. But mate, thanks for being so honest with us.
All right, so let's get into the bowl of uncomfortable, Seb. I'm not sure if
Yep.
you've been listening to the podcast, maybe probably not before, having a disability, but maybe you have to go back and listen to the 50 episodes before yours. But this is where people send us questions, knowing that a recent amputee, was going to be on our show, and maybe they didn't have the confidence to ask you in person, hence they leave that to us, Dylan Alcott.
Of course.
Can I go straight into it?
Mm-hmm.
Because your injury was an accident, is there still or any initial guilt or resentment from either player of anybody at work that went down?
Geez, that's a good question.
Yeah, mate,
actually,
we don't muck around here.
No, not at all. Far out. I strongly believe that I can't let myself feel any guilt or resentment about that injury, because as soon as you do that and you start hating people, that's when you start going downhill and your mental health just drops. Because I remember I hated myself for it for the whole time I was in hospital, and my mental health was so bad. And another amputee reached out to me, Jed Altschwager, and kind of he kind of became like my big brother in a way, and showed me the ropes, and told me like you can't hate yourself for stuff like this. You just need to keep moving forward and keep looking into the future, because you can't change what happened in the past.
Well, you can only control what you can control, and it's not your dad's fault, it's not your mate's fault, it's not your fault.
Yeah,
things happen, and
exactly.
it's the way that I always say it's the decisions and not the conditions that determine life that you live, right? So you and Jake can both
Exactly.
lose your leg on the same day and live two very different lives because of how you look at it. So, mate, very mature, well said answer, mate.
Thank you.
This one comes with a warning for anybody who has experienced or might be triggered by questions around suicide. Please call Lifeline 13 11 14 and feel free to leave our podcast at this stage if you feel the need to. As we've left that, here's a question for you once again. If you've got to feel comfortable with it as well, Seb, it's not a must answer.
No, that's fine.
So we had a question. I lost my arm 7 years ago, and for the first 12 months, attempted to kill myself twice. I don't love the way that I looked at myself today. However, I regret how I felt for those 12 months. Have you ever had those similar feelings?
Absolutely, 100%. I just remember thinking like, why am I doing this? Like, I worked so hard just to get set back over and over and over again. Like, my life's so difficult. I'm only 19. And I just remember telling myself all that. And then, well, my girlfriend, she's incredible. I think she's still behind me somewhere, but probably listening to this laughing. But
She's crying because she loves you so much.
yeah,
It's cute.
probably. No, but she's been amazing. She gets me through all of this. Sits up with me late at night, talking to me and making sure I'm okay. My little brother and sister, my two little brothers and two little sisters, they get me through it as well. I go out, they make me smile every single day, and obviously my mum and dad, who do so much work behind the scenes just to make sure that my mental health is okay. And yeah, basically, if you're feeling like that, there's always people you can talk to, and your life's always worth pushing forward, because who knows what's going to happen in the future. Like everyone can do anything, really.
They went on to say, the last 5 years of my life have been better than the first 36, and I wouldn't change anything. Good luck to you, young man, and may you find the same light that I did.
That's very
Nice little
nice.
That's incredible.
Beautiful, mate. Mate,
I love that.
well spoken. You're a legend. Bit of a rooster too, isn't he, Gus?
Very good looking man.
I was just going to ask.
Breed him well at Scotch.
You've got a bit of a mullet going on. Did the forklift get the mullet as well? Because was that on
exactly.
purpose or?
Yeah, the tines of the forklift.
Pulled the follicles out.
Thought it might have been accidental. I wasn't
There
sure.
you go. Well, Seb Steel, Seb_Steel, to go check him out. Of course, all the links to follow the great man are below in the show notes. But thank you very much. You are I think the freshest person into the disability community that we've had on.
I got to ask you, what are you going to do next, bro? What do you want to do? Paralympics? Do you want to do sport? Do you want to work? Do you want to advocate?
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Paralympics, 100%.
What sport? Don't know yet.
Don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm just going to be there.
I like it.
Exciting.
I'll be there too, but drinking beers this time, so I can cheer you on.
Absolutely.
All right,
Might
mate.
have a few beers with my heroes.
All right. Oh, that's nice. Let's get a beer together. Where's Millie? Give us a wave in the back.
Yeah, footy hero,
Mil,
mate, by the way.
You got to say goodbye.
For
Goodbye to
who
the
watch
people on
YouTube.
Instagram.
There she is.
There she is.
She was eavesdropping like a creep the whole time. I loved it.
A big thank you to you,
Sure.
Seb, man. And keep going, mate. And make sure you take care of yourself mentally and physically. And we can't wait to see what happens next.
No, thank you so much, boys. I appreciate everything.
See you, mate.